comment,
and subscribe for more content.
Where's the notification bell?
It's to the right of you.
Oh.
What's up, guys? Welcome to this edition of a Funko Popcast. I am DK Wrestler.
And I am MD Shady.
And in today's podcast, we have a decent selection of pops to kick off the month of March 2022. Pretty sweet selection, including the first set of WonderCon 2022 exclusives, which was pretty much a big shock as terms to last week while recording last week's podcast, is seeing WonderCon randomly show up out of nowhere. So it's cool that we're going to be talking about at least the first set. Maybe, who knows? You guys would probably know at least before us, essentially, as we are recording this, of whether we're going to get the next set of WonderCon exclusives this week. Maybe they'll save it until the week of the event, like they've done with previous Comic-Cons before. But also, I do want to mention about a new time slot before this podcast begins. Instead of 12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, we will be moving to, I think, either 1 p.m. or 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, starting with Monday's video, due to the fact that your boy DK has a job now. So now I will be working essentially during the original time slot of 12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So new time slot for the videos and essentially this podcast next week, starting with Monday's video. So stay tuned. It'll probably be either 1 or 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time for the new drops. But without further ado, we will kick off with the first selection of Funko Pops that were announced for the first set of March, which range March 1st and 2nd. So kicking off March 1st, Hot Topic had announced their own exclusive pop of Stitch with Boba from Lilo and Stitch, in which this is available now both online and in stores. On that same day, Funko had announced a set of pops for the upcoming Marvel movie, Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness, which the pops featured here. We have ourselves a Doctor Strange with a 1-in-6 blue chase, Wong, America Chavez, Master Mordo, a 6-inch Rintrah, Scarlet Witch, Supreme Strange, and Sarah for the common pops, with exclusive pops of a floating Doctor Strange, which would be a specialty series exclusive, Christine Palmer, which will be a Funko Shop exclusive, a metallic Doctor Strange, which will be a GameStop exclusive, and Defender Strange, which will be exclusive to Walmart. And these are expected to release as early as June 2022. Then on March 2nd, Funko had announced a Funko Shop drop of Batwoman, which this Batwoman is available on the Funko Shop website. And then on that same day, Funko had kicked off WonderCon 2022 exclusive pop reveals, which first off, we have ourselves Boastful Loki from the Loki Disney Plus series, Angel Kronk from The Emperor's New Groove, an Angel and Devil Donald Duck 2-pack, Wally, Peacemaker from the HBO Max series Peacemaker, and we have ourselves a metallic She-Ra from Masters of the Universe, which will be a pop and backpack bundle, in which unknown at this time of where these pops will be shared, because the shared retailers list was not announced, since we know that WonderCon is not over yet, but they will be released during the weekend of WonderCon, which is the weekend of April 1st to April 3rd, also the same weekend to wrestling fans as WrestleMania. So kicking off with the Stitch with Boba from Lilo and Stitch. This is all right. I mean, I don't really have much to say as terms to the Lilo and Stitch pops, because we have gotten an abundance of Stitch pops throughout the many years that Funko has done Lilo and Stitch pops. I mean, I would love to see brand new characters for Lilo and Stitch, like possibly the one I mentioned during our WonderCon predictions video, which you guys haven't seen yet. Definitely go check that out. But this is all right. I like the facial expression involving Stitch, because clearly he's enjoying the drink there. But overall, it's not for me, but I'm sure a lot of people are going to end up getting this. Then we got ourselves pops for the upcoming movie, Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness, which I think we are now under 2 months now before the movie releases in theaters, because I believe it's May 6th, I want to say. And I'm pretty excited, especially because there has been kind of a rumored list of who may or who may not appear in Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness. So talking about the pops, The Doctor Strange for the common one is pretty decent, and I do like the way that the chase actually looks and the whole design involved with it. It kind of actually looks like an artist series pop without being called an artist series pop and not overdoing it with a bunch of random logos like we see with the artist series pop. So I do enjoy that chase. Wong is always so cool to see in Doctor Strange, and essentially, I think he actually made a little bit of appearance in Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings also. I don't know much about the girl there. The other pops are pretty decent. I kind of figured we'd get a pop of Scarlet Witch, especially announced now, because we obviously know, even from watching WandaVision, that they were teasing that she would make an appearance in Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness. All these characters are pretty decent. The exclusive pops are also pretty decent. The floating Doctor Strange, I think, may be my favorite one out of the exclusives. And I don't think there was actually much hype for the Funko Shop exclusive. Defender Strange is also pretty decent. I remember seeing that in the trailer for Doctor Strange in the Multiverse and Madness. And then we got a metallic one of the common pop, which I guess is okay. But the little bit of an upside is that we got ourselves a preview on the Funko app. If you guys haven't seen yet, if you find the metallic version of Doctor Strange on the Funko app, it's giving us Canadians a preview of the future GameStop Canada exclusive sticker, which I am excited to see on pops going forward instead of getting that ugly plain GameStop exclusive sticker that we see with the American GameStop pops. But overall, these pops are pretty decent. Can't wait to see the movie coming out in May, and I can't wait to see more pops after the movie gets released. Then we got ourselves Batwoman, which this is pretty decent. I like the pose, and I like the way the colors are kind of like, blending in together with the black and the red there. At first, when I looked at this, I thought maybe this was a little bit like a tiny bit of a spoiler for the Batman film. And maybe I was like, man, I could have added this to the top 5 list that I just did for a video here on the channel of top 5, the Batman Funko Pops, another video you guys definitely should watch. But this is actually its own section. I think it's like its own, like it's on the box, it says Batwoman and not Batman. So that's pretty decent. It's part of the TV lineup. So I don't exactly remember if there was a Batwoman TV series or this is for an upcoming series called Batwoman. But overall, really cool. Loving the design of this. Now we are going to the WonderCon exclusive pops, which they've been decent so far, I will say. Starting off with Boastful Loki, which I feel like a lot of people, there's a bit of mixed hype I find, because I think Boastful Loki would have been better if we got it maybe a couple months back when there was still a decent amount of hype for Loki. I feel like this is a little bit lackluster, not because of the character. I think people were waiting for this, and I believe it was rumored to be originally possibly a San Diego or New York Comic-Con exclusive for last year. But of course, because of worldwide shipment delays due to the pandemic, that essentially this pop was delayed and now is a WonderCon exclusive. The detail is pretty decent, but I do find the other variants of Loki to be better, like let's say Alligator Loki, Kid Loki, even the President Loki Funko Pop that we had gotten. I find those to be a little bit better than this one, but it's still cool for Marvel fans per se. Next up, we have ourselves Angel Kronk from Emperor's New Groove. This is pretty decent, and I'm not mad that they're making more Kronk pops because, of course, Kronk was a very popular character in Emperor's New Groove. I think my only gripe is the fact that, like, in this scene, it's like Angel and Devil Kronk. Why wasn't it a 2-pack? Essentially, because now it also made it weird that the next pop we're going to talk about is an Angel and Devil 2-pack of Donald Duck. This pop is pretty cool, and I wish it was a 2-pack, but now I feel like they're going to go down the route that essentially they did with the Three Musketeers, is that they're separating them for different cons. So I believe we got Angel Kronk for WonderCon, and we probably will get the Devil Kronk as its own separate pop for San Diego Comic-Con come July. So that's probably why they didn't put this in a 2-pack, especially if they already planned on having the next pop that we're talking about, which I'll transition to that, the Angel and Devil Donald Duck, which I think this is okay. I like the different hand poses involved and essentially the attires, but I don't know, it's just not for me. Then we got ourselves the new Wally pop, which I think it's pretty decent. I mean, Funko makes a lot of Wally Pops and people keep buying them. So why not make, I believe this may be the first Comic-Con exclusive Wally Pop. I don't exactly know. Like I haven't really kept track. I know there's been a couple of Up Pops. Obviously, Toy Story has had Comic-Con exclusives, but I don't think Wally has. I could be wrong. Anyone would let me know in the comment section below. That'd be greatly appreciated. I believe with this Wally, this is involved in like the very beginning of the movie where you see kind of like the wasteland and how the world has been. And Wally is making the different like trash boxes and stacking on top of them. And I actually didn't realize until I watched someone else's video about reviewing this is that they actually added the cockroach on top of the box there. And I didn't realize that until someone mentioned it. And then I zoomed in on the photo. So I think that's really cool detail because I do remember the little cockroach kind of swarming around there during the beginning of the movie. So I think it's decent that they made this pop, and especially the way they made it where Wally is kind of like lifting himself up and he's not entirely down. Then we got ourselves Peacemaker from the HBO Max series, The Peacemaker, which this is a pretty decent pop. This is a much better pop than we got for the Suicide Squad lineup. And I like the way they did with the helmet where you have kind of like that red visor over the eyes and he's holding the shield and he's actually got some sort of other pose instead of the other one where it essentially looks like a 2012 Funko Pop where the arms are to the side and it's just basic. They did a much better improvement with this. And I believe they added more detail to the helmet also by adding that logo because I think it was just all gray for the Suicide Squad, if I'm not mistaken. But this is a much better improvement. And I do think this may have been, if I'm not mistaken, after looking at comments, the most hyped pop so far as terms to the WonderCon exclusives. And I don't blame them. I mean, I've heard nothing but good things about Peacemaker on HBO Max. I do plan on watching it. Don't exactly know when, but I do think I'm going to end up watching it, not only because John Cena, WWE, but overall, Peacemaker was a cool character in the Suicide Squad movie to begin with. Then we got ourselves the pop and bag bundle of She-Ra from Masters of the Universe, which is pretty decent. They've done pop and bag bundles before, I believe. I think the most recent one I could think of was the Boba Fett pop and bag that was actually a limited piece count for New York Comic-Con, I believe I don't think it was 2021. I think it was 2020, actually. And the backpack's okay. I feel like they've done better Loungefly backpacks. And I was a little disappointed to see the She-Ra for a couple of reasons. One is because at first I thought it was essentially the same pop that they had announced like when the Wave came out a few years ago, and it was just delayed, kind of like that translucent Suyu from My Hero Academia. But this is actually a metallic version, and all of the armor that she's wearing is more gold, while the other one is more yellowish, and you can tell the difference. And I'm also disappointed because it's just a different variant of a already existing character in pop form, while I think huge Masters of the Universe fans and even, I guess, more casual ones like myself would rather see a new character. Like example, we have been wanting Tila for a Funko Pop in the Masters of the Universe lineup. I don't know why they haven't decided to make a pop of her yet.
Okay, so kicking off March, we have the Stitch with the Boba Tea. And this is not great, I'm going to say. One, I think I've said it a couple of times now that I feel like Stitch is kind of getting overproduced. There's a lot of pops coming out for Stitch where I would like to see some versions of some of the other characters from Lilo and Stitch rather than seeing a ton of Stitch figures. And this one isn't amazing. Like there have been ones where it's like, okay, we don't need this, but this is cool. But this one is just kind of ridiculous. I like the facial expression. I think that looks good, but the rest of it kind of sucks. The body is kind of meh. And then looking at the boba tea itself, there is some kind of decent detail there, but the one thing that really takes me away from this pop is the painted detail of the actual tapioca that's in the tea is just painted on spots rather than being like actual formed plastic in the cup, which I know Funko has done things like that before with, for example, the pop of, what's it called? Science Theater 3000 or whatever hell that show's called, with the like gumball character, how he actually had like gumballs in his head. So they can definitely do it. They know how to execute a pop like this well. So it feels like they kind of went with the lazy route with this Stitch. Then we have the first pops for Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness, and I'm really excited for this movie, and these pops look pretty good for the most part. Obviously, the Doctor Strange and that Chase version are probably going to be some pretty big sellers. That Chase version looks really cool. The Wong is awesome as well. A lot of these are really cool. I mean, Scarlet Witch, I definitely would see selling pretty decently, though there have been a ton of Scarlet Witch pops in the last few years. And then we have the exclusives, and I think the exclusives are pretty good as well. I like the metallic version for the GameStop exclusive. I think that there is a little bit of added detail with being metallic that I like. For example, the inside of his cape actually has like some detail in it, whereas with the common, at least from the glam shot that we're seeing, you can't really see those details. So I don't know if they're not there or you just can't see from the glam shot. But I do think the metallic one looks a whole lot better. And that might actually be a pop that I pick up, especially if I really enjoy this movie. Then we have the Funko Shop exclusive Batwoman, and this pop's okay. I like the pose. I like that it's kind of a newer character. And I mean, yeah, it's under the television lineup. So is there going to be a Batwoman show? I haven't heard anything about this at least, but I do think this pop looks cool. And if it does become a show that people like, I would like to see more pops down the road. Then we have the WonderCon pops. And I guess before I discuss each pop, I want to discuss about WonderCon itself. And it's very interesting that we are getting 6 pops here, I guess we'll say, from 6 licensors that we've already had. It's not new licensors. And it's all characters we've already seen before, technically. So it's just weird. It's a little lackluster, but I do think there are some good sides to WonderCon. So starting off with the Loki pop, I don't know a ton about this character because I haven't watched all of Loki, but I do think that this looks good. It has a lot of detail. And yeah, I do agree with DK. If this would have came out earlier, I definitely think it would probably sell better. I would think this would probably be one of the like least wanted pops out of WonderCon. Then we have the Angel Kronk, and this is really cool. This is my personal favorite from the con. And yeah, why is there no devil? I mean, we usually see the Emperor New Groove con pops like all come in pairs usually. So why isn't this one in a pair? And this one kind of makes the most sense to be in a pair because it's literally 2 of the same character, I guess, in a sense. So why didn't we see the devil, especially when you go to the next one and you see the Donald Duck 2-pack and it's like, oh, so they know what they're doing, but why didn't they do it? Are they just lacking space for the next con? They needed to save that pop for that reason? I don't know, but I do think the Kronk looks really cool and I can't wait to get that pop. So moving on to the Donald Duck 2-pack, I think that this one is pretty good as well. I do like how they're not just like the same poses. You have kind of the praying hands for the angel. And then the devil kind of looks like he's like a little more sinister with his arms crossed, which I think is a good added detail. I think this is a really cool 2-pack, and I could see Disney fans definitely wanting to get this. Then we have the Wally, and personally, this is one of my favorite Wally pops that I've seen, just because I think it's simple, but there are some added details, like DK said, with the cockroach on the kind of recycled metal box. And the metal box itself, I think that that's super iconic to the movie. So this is really cool, and I also like the head tilt to the side. This is definitely a really decent Wally pop. Then we have the Peacemaker from the Peacemaker TV series, and this is pretty cool. I mean, yeah, it is better than the first one. Is it amazing? Maybe not. I wouldn't go towards saying that it's amazing, but I do think it's cool because now we're open to get an actual wave of Peacemaker pops, which I know people have definitely wanted, and I'd be interested to see what we'd see in a wave like that. And then lastly, we have the She-Ra with the pop and bag. And this is cool. I like this. I think it looks good with the gold metallic. I think that's awesome. And the bag itself, I think, is pretty decent. I like how simplistic it is, where it doesn't scream that it's She-Ra, but if you know, you know. And I feel like that's kind of what you want from a Loungefly bag. So overall, this pop and bag is pretty decent. And overall, I guess all of the WonderCon pops are pretty good, but I would have just liked to see some new licensors or something like complete fire.
Are you looking for great pop protectors? Then look no further than popbox.ca. They have a variety of 4-inch and 6-inch protectors in different quantities. Do you want to get 10 protectors, 20? You can get even up to 250 pop protectors over on popbox.ca. And also use our promo code of Funko Popcast for 10% off of your entire purchase of pop protectors. The code is going on until supplies last. So go get your pop protector needs now over on popbox.ca funkopops.ca using our code of FunkoPopcast to get 10% off.
And let me tell you guys, we're not just screwing around here. These are some great pop protectors. We own a multitude of these protectors. They are some of the best I've seen. Stop buying from EB Games. I'm not boycotting EB Games by any means, but their pop protectors are not as good. So again, use code FunkoPopcast for 10% off.
All right, so moving on to the next set of Funko Pops, which range from March 3rd to March 8th, which kicking off March 3rd, Funko had confirmed on their website of the Jackie Robinson Funko Pops, which we got ourselves a common version of Jackie Robinson with a bronze chrome chase, and of course a Jackie Robinson sliding, which will be a Walmart exclusive. And the commons are available now on Funko.com and various retailers, but the Walmart exclusive, I believe, is expected to be released at a later date. Then we got ourselves Pops for, I believe it's a video game, and it's Genshin Impact, I believe it's called. So the Pops involved, we have ourselves Paimon, Lumine, and Ether, which these are expected to release as early as August 2022. On that same day, Funko had announced a new pop of Machine Gun Kelly, a Ticket to My Downfall version, which that is expected to release as early as June of 2022. Then on March 4th, Funko had confirmed on their website of the pop of Miles Davis for the Rocks lineup, which that is available now to purchase on their website. Then on March 7th, Funko had confirmed the next set of pops involved for the NFTs, and that is of Transformers, which we got ourselves pops of Devastator, Sideswipe, Rumble, and Hot Rod, which all four of those will be limited to 1,550 pieces. A Gold Optimus Prime, which will be limited to 999 pieces. And we have a Freddy Funko as Bumblebee, which will be limited to 2,000 pieces. And the cards for these will be released on Tuesday, March 15th at 11 a.m. PST, 2 p.m. EST on the Drop website. And last but not least, for this set of Funko Pops for the week, Funko, after so many months, had finally confirmed on the Funko app of the pops involved in the September 2021 themed Marvel Collectors Corps subscription box for Shang-Chi. And we have ourselves new variants of Shang-Chi and Xia Ling. All right, so kicking off with the Jackie Robinson Pops, which these are really cool Funko Pops, to be honest. It's surprising that Jackie Robinson has not gotten his own Funko Pop until this point, and I think the posing is pretty decent for the player. And I'm not going to crap on the bronze chrome chase because I definitely think it makes sense, especially when, let's say, someone is like a hometown hero of some sort and they have a bronze chrome statue somewhere in the city. I think this is basically how it's being made as, which I think it definitely makes sense. And then we got ourselves the Jackie Robinson sliding pop, which, holy crap, Funko has finally made a new mold for the MLB lineup, and this is awesome. How have we not gotten a sliding to home base Funko Pop as terms to the MLB lineup? And I think they did a great job, especially when you have the sand kind of lifting there as terms to underneath the knee and the hand as it's dragging. I think that's awesome detail. And yes, it's in a sideways box, but it definitely makes sense for the case of what the Funko Pop is to be in a sideways box. Then we got ourselves the pops for Genshin Impact, I believe it's called. I totally forgot the name of it before recording, but these are some pretty insane detailed pops. I think there's a decent amount of hype because of how detailed it is. There's a lot of people mentioning, I've never played the game, but these are really detailed. And especially, how come Funko does not make bases for pops like they have it for these three pops? Like, why don't we see like some sort of grass environment for, like, let's say a Pokemon pop or some sort of base for some sort of TV show? Why don't we get that for all pops? Why is it only limited? Which I guess is what makes these pops special. Next up, we have the Machine Gun Kelly pop. This is pretty decent. I kind of like it better than the MGK pop we got originally, where he has the shorter hair and is doing kind of like the jumping pose with the guitar. I kind of remember him more with his longer hair than the shorter hair, if I could be completely honest. But my only gripe about this realistically is, how has MGK gotten two variants of a Funko Pop before Green Day? That's my only gripe. But other than that, this is still pretty decent. Then we got ourselves Miles Davis, which I don't know too much about Miles Davis besides the little quote that Adam Sandler does in Billy Madison, or it's not, well, it's done in Billy Madison, but it's not Adam Sandler who says it. It's the older lady is like, well, call me Miles Davis. This is pretty decent for how simplistic it is. I like the way he's holding the trumpet that is in his hands, and I love the glasses too. Really cool pop. Then we got ourselves the NFT Transformers pops, which, man, these NFT pops are wicked. Like, Funko keeps improving on the different pops that they do for the NFT lineups, and these are wicked. And I haven't looked at essentially what people were thinking about these yet, but I can only imagine from remembering what people would comment during Transformers announcements for Funko Pops that they are probably disappointed that the only way they can get Devastators through the NFTs, because I remember a lot of people mentioning we want a Devastator pop, and now we have it through the NFT Transformers lineup. And I mean, it's okay. It sucks for the ones that don't want to invest in NFTs, but this is going to be a money grab for those that didn't really want to get NFTs, and now they are, so that they can get a chance at these pops. I think they're all pretty decent. Like, Devastator looks wicked with the green and purple colors. Sideswipe is okay. I mean, I think actually someone commented on one of our recent videos when talking about this that it looks a bit like an 8-bit pop, which I kind of agree. Sideswipe does. Rumble looks pretty decent with the way that he looks. And I don't know what it is, but I'm really loving the way that Hot Rod looks. I think his overall design, even though the head sculpt is a little bit simplistic compared to the other ones, there's something about those colors and just the way he looks that just looks so cool, and probably may be my favorite pop out of this entire set. The gold chrome Optimus Prime, which will be the 999 piece, which I guess I'll get into. What I was going to say for last was that I'm glad that with essentially the newer characters, they make them a much bigger, or it's not much bigger, but a decently bigger piece count compared to, let's say, this Optimus Prime, where I feel like not a lot of people are going to want to get it because there's already like 3 different variants, actually 4 now as I think about it, because of the 10-inch variant of Optimus Prime already out. So not necessarily, unless you're a hardcore Transformers fan, you're going to want this. And I thought for some reason it was a bit lazy, but someone did mention that this does have some relevancy as terms to an episode where Optimus Prime is all gold. So I guess it makes sense in that fact, but I feel like as a more casual Transformers fan, I wouldn't want to get that. And then the Freddy Funko as Bumblebee is pretty decent. I'm liking the way that they are doing Freddy Funkos for the NFTs than what they usually do for Freddy Funkos for, let's say, Box of Fun or just random Freddy Funkos they make here and there. I'm really afraid to see what the future of Funko NFTs hold, especially if they start doing a lineup that I really like to collect. And I guess to end off the podcast for announcements, we have ourselves Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings pops that came out in September and somehow weren't added to the Funko app for 6 months. Pretty weird to talk about these now, but I guess we will. These pops are meh. I enjoy Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings. I definitely think it was one of the best Marvel Cinematic Universe movies that we had gotten in 2021. I don't think it's the best because I do feel obviously that Spider-Man No Way Home, even though it came out like literally like the second last week of December, would truly be the best MCU movie of 2021, in my opinion. But if Spider-Man didn't come out at that time, I think Shang-Chi definitely would have been the best MCU movie. But the thing about this is that it was such a great movie, but I find that all of the Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings, or the majority of the Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings pops, are always so bleh. Like, there's nothing really interesting about these, especially the posing. Like, I mean, I'm sure Shang-Chi in his pose is about to do something, but I mean, it's like, it's nothing really interesting, especially the Xia Ling, which especially because we've already gotten a couple variants of Shang-Chi, and now I believe this is the 3rd variant of Xia Ling, or 2nd, but I know we've gotten a Xia Ling Funko Pop before. And this one, I remember the scene that's involved with, but it's just arms to the side. We're looking at like almost 2012, 2013 hands to the side pops again. But with this set and this pop specifically, I don't know. These Marvel Collector's Core subscription boxes have become very lazy when it comes to the pops of choice.
Okay, so like DK said, it is definitely weird that we haven't seen a Jackie Robinson pop until this point, and I do think they did a great job with these technically 3 pops. The common is pretty cool. I like the pose. I think that's decent. And overall, the pop looks good. Then the chase version, I think it makes a lot of sense to have this kind of bronze chromish looking chase version. But I kind of wish that it was more, what would be the word for it? Putinified, I guess. Putina, I think that's the word that I'm looking for, where you kind of have the oxidization going on it of the like green, obviously from being oxidized. I think that would have made this pop look so much better. But overall, this is a decent looking chase. And then we have the Walmart exclusive in the sideways box of him sliding to the bases. And this is pretty dang cool. It's exciting to see this new pose for an MLB pop, though I don't really collect MLB pops. I do think that sports pops definitely do need to have more different posing so that they don't get stale, especially when there's so many different athletes for every sport. So this is really cool, and I think that people are going to really enjoy this. It kind of sucks that it's in a sideways box, but I recently have kind of found a new love for sideways boxes, so that's not too bad.
I think the word you were looking for was patina.
Patina, okay.
Poutine sounds like French fries getting oxidized with gravy on top.
That's some Canadian
patina.
stuff.
Yep, patina was the word you're definitely looking for.
Then we have the pops for Genshin Impact, I believe is what it's called. And these are amazing. These are some of the nicest pops I've ever seen, if I'm being quite honest. The detail is just phenomenal with these. And then, yeah, you got to talk about those bases. I mean, so cool. Such amazing detail on the bases themselves for pops that I'm assuming are just your standard pops and not like a deluxe pop. So these are really cool, and it does really make you wonder why other pops haven't been getting bases, but maybe it's something we will see moving forward with some pops at least, because I think it's such a great idea. And obviously it really gives like a statue kind of vibe to these pops, whereas pops are more of collectibles rather than being statues. Yeah, these are awesome. And it does make me want to check out this game, though I've never really heard anything about it. I do think that the character designs are cool. And obviously, if they're putting this much detail into the pops, these characters have got to be pretty awesome. Then we have the new Machine Gun Kelly pop. And I do think that this one is pretty cool. I like the detail going on with it, with kind of the head slant and the way that the eyes are. I think the hair looks good. It does look like Machine Gun Kelly when he has that hairstyle. The body overall is okay. My one gripe about this pop and the other Machine Gun Kelly pop is I would like to see a Machine Gun Kelly pop where he is kind of more in his rap style kind of outfit, though he does dress fairly similar for both styles of music that he does, especially considering he just put out a new rap song, I guess, essentially, which is cool because he has mostly been doing some punk rock stuff. And I would like to see the next MGK pop have no shirt on. I think that MGK is kind of known for like never, like he does wear shirts obviously, but he shows off his chest a lot because he has so many tattoos. And I would love to see what his tats look like in pop form, especially the like brick wall that he kind of has on his like abdominal. I think that would be really cool. And I do think we will see that because obviously Funko wants to be making Machine Gun Kelly pops, and they're probably doing pretty well considering he is pretty talked about nowadays. Then we have the pop of Miles Davis, and I think that this is pretty good. This is someone that I kind of completely forgot about, so it's nice to hear his name, and I think that the pop overall looks pretty decent, so that's cool. Then we have the Transformer NFT pops, and yeah, these are pretty sweet. I don't really collect the Transformers pops, except I do want to get a couple of them. So I was kind of happy to see that this is the newest NFT drop because I didn't really feel like buying NFTs this time around. And I'm glad that I don't have to, though these pops are pretty fire. I mean, Devastator looks awesome. Sideswipe looks okay. Rumble, I think, is my favorite one. I don't know what it is about it, but I do think that this one is just so awesome looking, and I really enjoy that pop. Hot Rod also looks pretty cool. I think DK summed it up pretty well, where the colors go together well, especially with the blue eyes. I think that they pop very well off of the other colors of the pop itself. And then the gold Optimus Prime, I think that that's cool. And again, DK summed it up pretty well, where this is a good pop to have a low number of because I feel like other people want the newer characters rather than another Optimus Prime. But a gold Optimus Prime is still pretty cool. And then we have the Freddy Funko as Bumblebee. And This is pretty awesome. I like how they've done this. We haven't really seen a Freddy Funko like this before. And it really reminds me of I believe it's Arnold as banana and Gerald as strawberry, I think, are the two pops from the Hey Arnold set. There's just something about this pop that really reminds me of those pops. And I think that this is an awesome Freddy Funko. It's just so different from what we normally see with Freddy Funko. And I really enjoyed that they made the crown black. I think that fits this pop very, very well. Good job, Funko. And then lastly, we have the two Shang-Chi pops. And yeah, it is kind of weird to be talking about these pops now, considering we've seen these pops in person now for quite some time, considering they are like 6 months old at this point. They're okay. Again, I think DK did a good job with these ones, saying that Shang-Chi, from what I've heard, because I still haven't seen it, is an awesome movie, but the pops always just seem to be kind of meh, though I do think that the Shang-Chi himself is pretty dang awesome. I like the pose, and I think that that's probably the best one from what I can remember, but these are okay, but just nothing crazy.
Anyways, guys, so that's going to be the end of this week's edition of a Funko Popcast. If you enjoyed this week's edition of a Funko Popcast, make sure you smash that like button. Comment in the comment section below and let us know your thoughts on the WonderCon exclusive pops. Press that subscribe button for more content like this podcast and any other videos we do on this channel in the future, and press the little bell beside it to be notified of when that future content gets released. And if you guys haven't yet, follow us on all of our social media platforms on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at a Funko Popcast. It'll be listed in the description below. But anyways, guys, thank you for listening to this week's edition of a Funko Popcast, and we hope to see you guys next week in our brand new time slot of 1 p.m. or 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. 1, 2, 3, I'm out of here.
Oh, right. The poison for Cusco. The poison chosen especially to kill Cusco. Cusco's poison. That poison? Peace in, peace out.